I think what we were mostly proud about is owning our own lights. Yeah. And when we introduced our LED lighting setup to St. Anne, it wasn't something that party or promoters were used to. So we added an extra flair to let them know that, boy, you know, and not just one little screwing bulb or the pigtails here under the bar, or, you know, we actually added flavor to the events with the lighting.
All right, tell me the most weddings you've done in 1 year.
Aye, it's over 100.
Over 100 weddings?
It's over 100, right?
Jody, that's a lot.
It's a lot of weddings. All right, so let me put that into perspective now, because we're coming from 12 weddings.
LiveFast Jamaica.
All right, people, welcome back to our next episode of 10 Startup to Success. On today's episode, we are speaking with Jody from ZEDOJ. But before we get into the conversation, we'd like to big up Mars Joe Coconut Water for sponsoring this episode, Rum Stripe. So get your coconut rum stripe or your cranberry and rum at your nearest corner shop. All right, so Jody, what's up? How are you doing?
I'm good.
All right, so thanks for coming today. We've been speaking a while about this episode. I spoke to you before we even started to shoot.
Right.
You remember at Cabana we were talking about it. Yes, so glad to have you here today. And how are you doing?
I'm good. I mean, you know, to hear your thought actually come to conception and seeing, you know, the episodes that you've done before, I mean, it's an honor to know from planning stage, and then now I'm here. So thank you.
Yeah, man, thanks. And I know a lot of people might be seeing Jody and don't know who is Jody. So I just want to give them just a quick recap as to who is Jody.
Okay. Well, people may have various versions of who Jody is, but my government name is Jody Ann Murdoch.
Okay. I
am the co-owner with my husband Kenito for ZEDOJ Events and Weddings, and also Le Iona Spa. A lot of people may know us mostly from the racing scene. So there are a lot of faces to Jody, but those, I guess, are the main ones.
You would have touched several different categories of business that you would have been a part of. And I guess that would probably be the format of this conversation.
Right.
So we're just going to start with just ZEDOJ.
Right.
All right. So what is ZEDOJ?
All right. That's a very good question. About 13, I would say 13 to 14 years ago, this year, 14 years actually, we got married, and I was previously working on the cruise lines. So I would be away for 4 months, only here for 2 months. After getting married, I'm like, cruise ship life isn't for me. And I enjoyed doing the wedding or helping to plan the wedding. So I thought, let's go into weddings. Kenita had just purchased a couple lights. So we said, okay, we could do rental of the lights and I could plan the weddings. Yeah. So the very same night I sat, and with the graphic designing background I created my logo, which 14 years later, I still have the same logo. So I launched that logo the same night, creating a Facebook page, advertising that we do weddings. And within 2 hours, I got my first wedding booking. 2
hours?
2 hours. So there's a part of me like, no, we're already like a joke, you know. But yeah, that's pretty much how we started. And by the time that wedding came around, within a year, we had done 3 or 4 weddings. So we started off basically doing planning, renting the few lights we had, and then, you know, we expanded into doing our own floral, supplying rentals, becoming a full service company. And 14 years later, we're still going. We have serviced quite a few corporate clients, to include Sandals, Margaritaville. We're now the major suppliers for Moon Palace, and we've also had the opportunity to work for over 8 years with the United States Embassy doing their functions as well. So in a nutshell, that's ZEDOJ.
All right, so you just give me a lot of info to process. All right, let's step back a bit.
Okay.
All right, so you mentioned starting and getting your first wedding within 2 hours of creating a Facebook page. At this time, did you have any experience in event planning before this? Or did you go to school or anything?
My wedding was the only experience that I had at that moment in planning an event, much less a wedding.
So, Jody, the average person would say your wedding is something for you to enjoy.
Correct.
Not for you to take as a practice for a business.
Yes.
So, tell me, how did that happen, leading to you practicing on your wedding or what?
Well, it wasn't intentional. While we were doing the wedding, I had a planner. So I basically input what I would like and I watched it play out. So it wasn't a case of I'm going to get married and then this is going to be a business. I actually was supposed to leave to go back to the ship. But because of being married and not wanting to leave, I was like, I'll stay in Jamaica. And something I didn't mention, prior to doing the business, I did work with Digicel for 7 months as their business account manager for the government accounts.
Okay.
So I did 7 years corporate and I'm like, nah, this is not for me. So that's when I actually started on the wedding planning.
Okay.
So it just happened. It was more of a need for something to do that I may enjoy rather than, all right, I'm going to get married and this is what we're going to go into.
All right. We know most people starting a business, they would say like the first 2 or 3 years is the roughest part. During those 3 to 4 years, at any time, did you think of or think that this was a wrong decision, as in to do this or something?
Yes, many times, because what we actually did, both of us dived into the company head first. So Kenito was basically with his parents, at a supermarket they owned, and, he managed with his parents daily doing that. I left corporate Jamaica to do events, and then both of us started doing this at the same time. To be honest with you, there were moments when we got bookings and we were grateful. But then after getting paid, we had to decide where we were going to channel that money into. Is it that we're going to pay the light bill? Or are we going to use this towards supermarket bill? Or do we split this between gas to go to our next event? It was a challenge. So this is what we speak of when we say hand to mouth. That is how we started off. It was a struggle. We grew. And one of the biggest stumbling blocks that we came upon in the beginning is that I got pregnant. And one of my major side effects of being pregnant is hating people. So I would get calls. Do you do lighting? No. Do you do decor? No. You never did events? No. So for a whole year, I shut the business down, and after giving birth, we literally had to start over.
And so with business, momentum is a thing that once you lose it,
it is very hard to get back. Correct.
All right, you mentioned your husband quite a few times since we started speaking, and I want to know, how do you manage to run a business with your husband? Because people normally say family and business don't mix.
Right. My opinion or my experience is probably an unpopular one. Because to be honest with you, we do everything together, not only work. We party together, we eat together, we gym together when we actually go, we work together, and we raise our kids together as well. I would say the only arguments or the major arguments that we have within our relationship is where work is concerned. He is the hands-on, let's build it, let's customize it, let's set it up, let's put it together, while I am the let's create it. This is the idea I have, the marketing, the accounting, the social media, the person or the face behind the business. So to be honest with you, if there's no him, there's probably no me. Yes. And if there's no me, there is no him. So we have to strike that balance to make his creativity or my creativity with his exemplary execution work.
Nice.
Yeah.
With ZEDOJ, you started out with weddings, as you said, right? But later on, you started doing events as well.
Correct.
Was this a plan from beginning that you would want to do weddings and events, or that something just happened?
Correct. So we had named the company ZEDOJ Events and Weddings.
Okay.
So then it would be events first.
Yes.
Right? Because I think what we were mostly proud about is owning our own lights. Yeah. And when we introduced our LED lighting setup to St. Anne, it wasn't something that party or promoters were used to. So we added an extra flair to let them know that, boy, you know, and not just one little screwing bulb or the pigtails here under the bar, or, you know, we actually added flavor to the events with the lighting. So yes, it was a lot of events where lighting is concerned, but not planning events.
Okay.
It was more of a rental. And then the weddings were full service.
All right, so this was, what year, 2011?
Yeah, it would be 2011.
You mentioned having difficulties in the early part of your career, starting ZEDOJ. I want you to give me like a specific scenario where you had some challenges and how you overcome them. I want this to be like a testimony to those who are watching, that having challenges is not the end of the road and you shouldn't stop there, but you can proceed and come out on top.
All right. When we started, of course, like I said to you, having the first booking within 2 hours was basically paving the way for many bookings to come.
Yeah.
And the business grew very quickly. We were maxing 12 to 15 weddings per year on our own, which at the time when we visited expos, you know, we would speak to other industry professionals within our range, and, you know, we'd ask, you know, how many weddings you have this year, and they'd tell us, oh, 5 or 8. And then at that point, we're like, wait, hold up. Like, we just came on the scene, like, what's happening here? Success is good. Success is great. But a friend once told me that one of the biggest failures where Black people are concerned, they don't know how to handle success.
Sure.
And when I asked what he meant by that, he said, what is your role in your company? I said, well, I do the marketing, I do the accounting, I do the planning, I assist with execution, I do consulting. And he says, and what is the problem that you identify there? Well, I actually don't identify any problem because I'm actually doing it how I know how to and how I can manage. He says, well, the problem I see with your company is that you're doing everything, so your company can only grow as fast as you can manage. So unless you can outsource, you can enable others to join your company and you train them at the standard that you're expecting, you will never go past 12 weddings per year. So I took that advice and I got my first assistant, and she was great, you know, doing the emails, and, you know, she's checking with me how this sound, and pretty soon she was writing emails, sending on her own without approving, and it just worked. And that basically paved the way for me operating the business and even being able to open a second business, which is not even related to the first business. But I'm now able to let go as long as I lay out my standard and I'm open to help, then it's only positive movement from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would be All right, tell me the most weddings you've done in 1 year.
Hi. It's over 100.
Over 100 weddings?
It's over 100. Right?
Jody, that's a lot of weddings.
It's a lot of weddings. All right, so let me put that into perspective now because we're coming from 12 weddings, right?
Yes.
This is doing a wedding almost every day and sometimes 2 weddings per day. All right. We started off as a full service planning company that we, from start to finish, we were there for the bride. We found your caterers, we found your pastor, we handed your marriage license, the bar, your entertainment, your venue. The only thing you needed to do was find your ring and you get your dress and your outfit and show up. That is how we started out. Now, handling a bride's every move where the wedding is concerned, you don't want past 12 weddings per year because you're literally sometimes speaking to one bride for as far as 3 years.
Yes.
With the growth of the company and our decor skills and our designs, we got introduced to Moon Palace. And what Moon Palace took in terms of services from us was not planning, but mainly design and execution.
Okay.
So we have transitioned now from doing wedding planning to wedding designing and decorating and execution. Okay. So we do decor, we do florals, we do audiovisual, and we can supply entertainment, which now allows us a lot more time to do a lot more weddings because we're now only managing a section of the weddings.
Okay, nice.
I have not done a full service wedding in over 8 years. I haven't done a wedding outside of Moon Palace in over 8 years. So
is that a good thing or is that a bad thing?
And I have been asked that question a lot by family as well as externals. For me, it's a good thing. And I'll tell you why I think so. I have a contract with Moon Palace at the moment, and it keeps us busy. With that being said, I don't feel the need to go outside and do anything else to distract. Finding staff, competent staff, dedicated staff is another issue that entrepreneurs face because for some people it's all about the money. So they come in and, you know, it's just the money and they move and they want to go chop because it's a bigger payday or payout to chop. To find somebody who shares passion, it is not easy. So for now, having the little staff that I have to do whatever work that we have in this one location, it's better for me than chasing several different events at a time and then we start failing and our reputation gets diminished. So for me now, it works.
Okay. What's your favorite? Or what I should say, what do you prefer? Events or weddings?
Weddings.
Why?
Weddings, because it is a once in a lifetime experience for some people.
Sure.
You get to customize, create. It's when a bride gives you a vision and you get to go above and beyond because this is her fairy tale or his fairy tale and it's magical. It's also less stressful because they know what they want. They know their budgets most times. And, you know, we work with them to achieve this. When it comes to events, personally, most promoters want everything, but they don't understand the value of getting the everything that they want. So I get cornered into budget versus execution. And for me, it's better for me not to execute if it doesn't reflect the standard that I'm going for, if that makes sense.
I totally understand.
Yeah.
That's that.
So I don't want to give you half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So normally weddings are, well, I think weddings are placed into 2 categories, destination weddings and local weddings.
Right.
I don't know if local is the correct term.
It is.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so before I ask this question, for those watching, can you tell them the difference between a local and a destination wedding?
All right, a local wedding is basically a wedding planned and attended by locals.
Okay.
So you live on the island, you are a local, you're planning your wedding in the locale that you're from. Yes, overseas people can attend, but you're still local.
Okay.
A destination wedding happens when an overseas couple travels to another destination outside of their own to basically have their wedding celebration.
Okay. All right, so my question now. We spoke to Audley Green,
Okay.
and he mentioned that you were the first person to give him a destination wedding.
Correct.
All right, so you think it's important to scout for new and upcoming talent in media like photography and videography to assist with marketing your brand?
At the moment, it doesn't work for me being in the resort because the resort has their own talents that they have in-house. If I was to venture to go back outside, then you know me, I'm all for entrepreneurship, encouraging people to chase their dreams, doing what they can do, which is also why Audley came into play. Because I knew Audley from taking photos at parties. And I remember having a wedding and I said to him, Audley, I have a wedding coming up. I think they were English actually. And I said, you know, how much would you charge to do this wedding? And I think he said 15,000 Jamaican dollars, and I laughed.
But Jody, this was what,
Listen,
2012?
Even
13?
back then, that was super low. Even back then. So I basically brought him up to speed as to where the market was for that.
Yes.
And if he did that, then he could earn that much. And I think from seeing that, it opened up a whole different ball game for him, because he was charging me a party rate.
Yes.
Right? And then if I can do a wedding and get double, triple, quadruple,
Yes.
then why not go into weddings? So yeah, upcoming talent is important, but I also recommend, if you're going to use upcoming talent, you need to basically have a portfolio to show.
Yes.
So for example, I couldn't tell anybody that I had a degree in wedding planning and I have a diploma in wedding planning and I have a master's in wedding planning, because they would say, show me a certificate, and I don't have that to show you at all.
Or even show me some pictures.
All right,
no,
I can show you photos, and that is what speaks for you. So if you're a photographer, you need to ensure that you get as much bookings from family, friends, to be able to, you know, market to the world.
So in 2016, you made an addition to the ZEDOJ brand with ZEDOJ on the Ridge.
Right.
Talk me through the thought process behind that and what led to ZEDOJ on the Ridge.
All right. Again, ZEDOJ on the Ridge was never planned. It was never anything expected, anticipated, or even wanted. All right.
Kind of disagree. I kind of disagree, but continue.
Okay. All right. Just in terms of how it came about, it was, the restaurant became available, and someone actually pitched to my mom to buy into this restaurant. You know, we spoke about it. We went and we looked at the space, and the very same evening she decided, okay, let's go through with this. Now, of course, who does mom want to run, operate, design, create the whole ambience, menus, entertainment? It was us. So she said, I think this should be an addition to the ZEDOJ brand. Hence, Mystic Ridge is where it was located. And we decided, let's call this ZEDOJ on the Ridge, right? So what we were supposed to be doing there, servicing that small hotel with breakfast for their lodgers in the morning. we advertised and opened up the market in such a way where we were now servicing Ochi with lunch and lunch specials. We went even further and said, let's try an all-you-can-eat buffet. And we included that. And then we say, you know, on a Friday night up here would be a really good pool party vibe. So we called Ashile. And Ashile basically, you know, sorted out the sound for that and DJs. And we went into that and it was doing so well. Until the owners or occupants of the spaces up there, some weren't happy because believe me when I tell you, crowd passed through that location. So we started to get some fight and some hit back as to, you know, this now becoming a party entertainment hotspot. We thought about it for a long time. We said, all right, how can we do this? Because the biggest part of the operation now became our Friday nights, and that was also our marketing tool for people to come back and eat during the week or have dinners. Now remember, we have no experience in restauranting at all, so that in itself was a struggle. But then we birthed the silent party.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So we got with Delano, DJ Delano, who owned the silent headphones, and we hooked up with them, and you know, we worked out a deal. So all right, well, if noise aren't a problem, then we're going to eliminate the noise, but we're still going to have the people passing through here.
And funny enough, I didn't even really realize it was that was the issue that led to the headphones. I thought it was just addition.
We just had to be smart with the issues that we faced.
Okay.
Right. So it was something new, and people grabbed onto it, and it worked while it did. However, soon after, we had to close the restaurant. I think this was 2017. Yeah, 2017. And a part of the reason for closing is, yes, the events were getting bigger. We had to stop at a certain point. Outside of that, I had just had our middle child, Morgan. So like literally 3 weeks old baby and me. And this is the same period that Moon Palace had basically contacted me to see if I would be a good fit to supply their company.
Okay.
I had the meeting within that first period of opening the restaurant, and they said, when would you be available to start? And I said to them, give me about 2 months, because I just had a baby, literally just opened a restaurant. So give me about 2 months just to sort out, work through everything, and then I'll be able to start. 2 hours later, I had a wedding to do. Yeah, I was called, you notice a trend here? I post the logo, and 2 hours later, I had my first wedding, and then Moon Palace interviews me, you know, and how soon do you be available? 2 months? No. 2 hours later, we have a wedding for you coming up in a couple weeks. And I thought, you know, let me just do this. So I was between breastfeeding in the parking lot and going back to doing flowers, to running back to the restaurant to make sure everything was functioning there, to coming back to Moon Palace. And it just became too much. So it was easier for me to sacrifice losing the restaurant than losing what we know how to do.
Because that was going to be my question. Like, that 2 months that you decided to take before going, was that to close off with prior arrangements like weddings and events?
No, those 2 months were basically to finish what we started at the restaurant, because we literally just got started. So I needed to do my menus. I needed to find proper cooks. I needed to interview waiters and waitresses and, you know, renovate and just get the business up and running. But unfortunately, we had to do all of that simultaneously while having a 3-week-old.
Yeah. All right. So as I said, we're noticing a trend.
Yeah.
All right. So managing all these business, what are some of the strategies you use so you can keep everything aligned?
All right. So in terms of aligning the businesses so they operate effectively, of course, each entity has to have their own WhatsApp group. So we communicate via WhatsApp in several different levels. On the ZEDOJ event side, you have a planning team. There's a WhatsApp group for that. Then you have a WhatsApp group that includes every single person on the team. And there's another WhatsApp group that only involves a certain level of planning. Yeah. Okay. Where the SPA is concerned, again, general WhatsApp group for everyone. And then a smaller WhatsApp group that, you know, is with like the receptionist and management. So in terms of communication, that is the easiest way, as well as appointing the appropriate people in the appropriate positions to be able to manage and execute without being micromanaged.
Nice. All right, you mentioned the SPA, but we're not going to touch the SPAs yet. ZEDOJ Events and Weddings.
Right.
That's the name. But I'm assuming that the events at that time was for event planning and decor, but not event hosting.
Correct. Yes.
All right, so now you started doing event hosting in what year? Is this 2017?
I think it was 2017, but the event hosting falls more under the Jodes brand than the actual ZEDOJ brand. But then what level of hosting are you talking about? In terms of creating my own events or actually being an MC?
All right, so that's the next thing again. But all right, I was talking about creating your own events. So Pandemonium.
All right. Pandemonium was pre-ZEDOJ events.
Okay.
Yes. Pandemonium is the reason why we ended up with lighting.
Hold on. Hold on. So you're telling me that you were doing events before ZEDOJ?
Correct.
Okay. All right, so we're learning, guys. All right, so so your first event then was Pandemonium. Okay. All right, then your second event was Amsterdam?
Correct.
All right, Amsterdam was kind of...
I don't even remember about that.
Amsterdam was kind of exciting and interesting.
Correct.
At the same time. Tell us a little more about Amsterdam.
All right, so Pandemonium was the typical party, but it was all white. I'm probably one of the first all whites, maybe not the first, but maybe the biggest within that region. Biggest in terms of crowd and production, execution, right? We came up with Amsterdam after, which we wanted to give that more of a tropical, all-inclusive flair. And the first Amsterdam was at Mystic Mountain.
Yes.
We created that whole jungle theme. So we ordered online the elephant heads, the tiger heads, the lion heads. We created a whole house front. And I think that is where our creativity started when it came on to designing and executing an event. I think Pandemonium started it, but Amsterdam fine-tuned it.
Yes, kind of place it on a bigger scale.
Right. So it was more of if you may, a more uptown party to Pandemonium.
And then the choice of venue for that event was... I don't think an event was ever done there
That was
before.
the first event ever.
Looking back, I don't think no other event got there after either.
Correct.
All right. The next event was RTS. Red ties and stilettos.
Yes.
All right. So red ties is my favorite event.
Okay.
Mainly because I used to see it as a free workshop for me, as in we're working there, but I could sit and listen to all the speakers, tell us about their experiences and the difficulties that they went through or going through at the time.
Right.
And One, I want to know if we get in the next red ties and stilettos, but before you answer that,
Right.
all right, what was the motivation behind red ties and stilettos?
Okay, so a little backstory to this, which a lot of people don't know. When I was working on the cruise lines, I had a tour to the Taj Mahal as a part of my job. We had about a 5-hour bus ride where this tour guide told me or tried to convince me that he has this gift to read people's futures. So if I wanted that opportunity, and I'm like, all right, you know, I'm on a 5-hour bus ride. What the hell am I gonna do? But may as well listen to what I'm officer.
Yeah, make
right?
him go out.
Yeah. So he went on, and he said, you know, you're going to marry a man that loves cars, and he puts himself together well, and he can be stubborn, but he's very quiet. Did I marry anybody like that?
Well, my question is no,
Yeah.
because for some strange reason, it seemed like this man did know Kenito.
Correct.
And funny enough, this is in a different country.
I'm in India. All right.
So India to Jamaica. Okay.
Right. So he told me about this man that I'm going to marry. He also told me that, you know, my mom is a very fancy lady and she also loves to dress up, and that is true. He told me that, you know, she was going to buy her dream house, which she did. Another thing he told me, he said, I would have a friend that, you know, I'm very compatible with, a male friend that I'm very, very compatible with in terms of talking and decision making and, you know, helping to transition through life, which I think I've identified that friend. And he said by the age of 32, I'm going to be a very successful businesswoman. And the final thing he told me, which Kenito only reminded me of last week, was that we would at some point venture into real estate. All right? No. Red ties and stilettos, I got to a point where I had a team. I listened to my friend's advice, and I expanded on my event planning. And I said, you know, if I could do this and I'm at the point where the US Embassy is calling me and I'm at the point where I'm saying I'm not available, like, who does that? And they're saying, no, figure it out. Like, we've been working with you. We want to work with you. Why can't I encourage somebody else to take my humble beginnings? Because a lot of people think that we started this from a lot of money, which we didn't. We didn't have it. We are literally two young people that decided to go for it with nothing, right? So this is not family wealth or inheritance coming across. This is literally us building from nothing to something. I now wanted to impart that knowledge and share this experience with somebody to say, listen, not only Master Joe can own business, and not only older people can have businesses, we as young people can actually start businesses and grow with it. And that's where red ties and stilettos came from. When a woman walks into a room in a red pair of shoes, like the first thing you look at is her shoes. A man in a tie is identified as someone that is doing business or is serious about business, or if it's with faith, then he's serious about faith. So I thought red ties for the men, red stilettos for the ladies. Yeah. And it was only standing on stage, giving my very first presentation as to why, how grateful I was for everybody who came out, that I realized that I'm 32. At this point in time where he's saying to me, you're going to be very successful at age 32. Here I was standing on a stage saying, guys, hey, look what I did. Look what Kenita did. Look what we did as a couple. Like, you can do this. And we've inspired so many people through this platform over the years.
Yes, you have. Taking a quick break from 10, brought to you by LiveFast Jamaica to shout out to our sponsors. Rum Stripe by Red Stripe, unleash the Rumvolution. FYAH Factory for all your creative and printing needs. And JOE Company Ltd for the most refreshing coconut water, ginger lemon, and fruit punch juices. All episodes are shot at the Real Studio, the creative hub. All right, so for those listening, just tell them some of the guests that were a part of Red Ties and Stilettos.
Okay, so Gary Matalon was one of the most memorable ones that we had. Red Tie and Stilettos was a weekend of events.
Yes.
We started off with a beach party, just so everybody could get to know each other, lime the night before, and then we went into the conference on day 2. We had hosts like Debbie Bissoon, we had speakers like Donovan Watkins, Tyrone Wilson.
Yes.
And then the following morning, the Coffee and CEOs, which is where Gary spoke at. And the very last Red Tie and Stilettos that we did before not doing it anymore, Vivica Fox was our guest speaker. And we were also graced by Crystal Tomlinson.
Yes.
So there are so many influential people that passed through, including other young entrepreneurs that I knew when I started up. And Davina Bennett, Miss Universe, Soyini Phillips, Miss World, Kimberly Patterson, who now has series and series of shows on BET. She's doing very well for herself as a makeup artist. They have just left us with a taste in the mouth of what Red Ties and Stilettos was heading towards.
All right, just hearing the names of all the guests, it just brought me back to being at the event and just hearing all the stories. When are we getting the next RTS?
All right, and next RTS, talking to you about it now, I must say, is the closest that I've ever come to actually wanting to do it again. In the beginning of this interview, we mentioned closing down the business because of pregnancy. Well, the last RTS that I did, I was pregnant at the time.
Yes.
And to today's date, I will have you guys know that I have not looked at any of those photos that you have sent me, because it just leaves a very bad taste in my mouth. So RTS became the negative thing of that pregnancy. It was such a great thing, Vivica Fox being there. It was an amazing event. Everybody got everything that they needed from it. But even if COVID didn't hit, I don't know if I would have been able to do it another year. On top of that, it's very expensive.
That was going to be my next question, because just hearing some of the guests that was present at the previous stagings, and it's 3 days, it's a weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I know it's expensive.
Sponsorship. Yes. As you may experience, or you may know in doing other events, maybe this podcast, it's very hard to get sponsors without proving to them your product, your market, who you can pull, how far it can go. So sometimes you just have to take that leap on your own just to prove. And I don't know if at this point we've lost the momentum with what happened during COVID and, the years that we didn't do it. But if I'm to do RTS again, I wouldn't start on a 3-day large scale like I did before, or even if I did, it would be on a more personal level, like a retreat for select people who are interested, and then we take it from there.
The Coffee with CEO session from the first. That was my favorite event of all the 3 stages.
So something like that with more bonfire around the poolside conversations.
Of all the 3 stagings, which speaker would you say was your favorite in terms of what he delivered, or she? With the exception of Gary Matalan.
With the exception of Gary Matalan. I would say Crystal. Crystal stood out. She was very powerful in her delivery. She has a way with her words and delivering. So, of course, Crystal stood out. The first year, Donovan, you know, Watkins was very good as well. So, Crystal and Donovan.
Okay, fair enough. So, in 2020, November, you started Le Iona Spa.
Right.
All right. That was in the middle of the pandemic. That was a very bold move to start a business like that in that time. First, I want to know, how did the name come about, and also the thought process behind going into that field of business, considering it's something totally different from ZEDOJ weddings and events. Events and weddings. Sorry, go ahead.
All right. So this is during the heart of lockdowns. Yes. We're locked down for 3 days, sometimes 2 days, you name it. Yes, it was a very bold and presumptuous move, but it had to be done. And the reason for this is COVID basically showed us that no matter what you're good at, something can shake up your comfort ground.
Yep.
So you can be as comfortable in your profession as possible. You need, Kenita like to say, think out of the box. You need to be able to think out of the box. So of course, we're on lockdown. No events are allowed on the island. No weddings are allowed on the island. All the weddings that we had planned for the hotel were cancelled. And this is literally us sitting, looking at each other, thinking, wait, what? So we don't have work? Like, when is the next event? How do we move? I started to do some research on Alibaba to see what kind of products I could go into. And at the time, I saw this feminine cup, a menstrual cup, that I thought, this would be a good idea. For years, ladies use tampons and they use pads, and a feminine cup sort of seems more affordable because it's reusable. This is new. This could work for a lot of communities where young girls don't have access to buy these things regular. So, you know, my brain starts going wild, and feminine cups and feminine washes and yoni soaps and steam herbs that can help to treat polycystic ovarian syndrome and fibroids and menstrual cramps. And I just went crazy with all of these things. And of course, I ordered all of them, right? Built the page, Iona Cups, playing on the name, I own a cup. However, Iona is my mom's first name, which I don't think she really likes it. Well, she didn't before now. So she goes by Norma. She named me Jody and Iona. And for years, I hated the name. So I wouldn't tell anybody my name is Iona. However, when I had my 2 daughters, I named them Maya Lee Iona and Morgan Iona. So I'm like, all right, there's a theme with this Iona thing. We started selling the products online. We started pushing out. People were asking us if we ship to Jamaica. Like,
I had that first, my first reaction to it was, is this a Jamaican business?
Correct.
Yeah, because overall design and the aesthetics and everything, it had that international appeal.
Right.
Yeah.
So remember I told you, I designed my own logo for ZEDOJ, and then now I'm like, oh, a new company, let me play with this one again. So we basically went, designed everything, presented the Instagram page, presented it to the world, people started thinking this coming like one Avon, you know, that Avon thing where you can be a member of and sell. So do you ship to Jamaica? And I'm like, well, we are in Jamaica. And then I now have overseas people asking me to ship to as far as South Africa. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. So on one of the free days that we had to go outside, I woke up the morning, I remember I was sick, and I said, Mom, I think I'd love to do a spa. She said, a spa? I said, yes, a yoni spa. What is yoni? Yoni is basically the ladies' female parts. So she said, how do you do a yoni spa? I said, all right, so we get some throne chairs. Of course, you know, I have to draw Kenita into this for design. So we bought these huge throne chairs, and we cut out the seats of them. We bought digital yoni steamers, designed it, screwed down the toilet seat in that throne chair. This is, of course, after deciding to go with the spa. And then they were like, but you can't just do a yoni spa. Like, you're not going to survive just doing a yoni spa. Like, our lady's going to come and steam every day. Is this something good enough to replace events? I was like, all right. Let's do a everything spa then. So with facials and massages and nails and yoni and waxing, and now we do body fat removal. And in the next couple months, we already have the machine, but we haven't started yet. We're going to be doing laser hair removal. And it just basically started growing. So that's how we got the spa.
I know it's probably different from ZEDOJ,
right?
As in the foundation
Definitely.
of your business. But what is the main difference between both businesses?
Outside of the personality of my teams, that is a major, major difference. Chalk and cheese. So it's leading a team of all ladies versus a team of male and ladies. I would say the spa is most difficult of the two, not because of not having spa experience, but it is somewhat a more difficult task maneuvering through ladies and the emotions and you know, trying to get everybody to work together and realize the vision. I mean, it does work, but it's a little bit more tedious than having an event side of the team.
For the past 2 to 3 years, well, after the pandemic, we realized ZEDOJ has been working closely with Ascend.
Okay.
What is the relationship with Ascend?
All right, the relationship with Ascend, I basically got introduced to the owner of Ascend through my friend Shane. Okay. They are, I was going to say they were, but they are friends. And I realized that Ascend was moving in a direction that mirrors my braveness, if that makes sense. They came on the scene very early. Marketing style was very effective. The growth that they displayed within the event sector, it took off. I recognize this. I saw this as opportunity within my business to use them to facilitate, you know, some of what we do. But outside of that, one of Ascend's first event through Cabana was designed by us. The entrance was designed by us. And we put a lot of heart and soul into that design.
Was that the one with the living room concept?
Correct.
Okay.
So we had a living room on one side that represented the Ascend brand, because this was now Ascend introducing their brand to the world through their event Cabana.
Okay.
So right hand side going in represented ascend, it showed luxury, it showed pure, it showed clean, it showed well executed, while the left-hand side going in showed cabana, a more rustic beach days, walk in the sun, backdrop sort of view. So from designing that, I think, you know, the owner was very impressed with our execution of that, and we started having more conversations regarding ZEDOJ assisting Ascend to ascend. So, you know, they are more structural production, while we introduced a soft side to finessing the whole production. So that is the relation between ZEDOJ and Ascend.
All right. So my next question is no. Well, before I get to the question, review is also a next event where the same level of
finesse
and wowness,
yes,
that's our word.
Right.
I realized that some of your entrances are always spectacular.
Right.
Always some nice entrances. I saw you did a swing over water.
We did a bridge over. We created a river. We created a river in the middle of a lawn.
Yes.
Right.
I think one review there was a stage in the air swinging from a crane. Yep. The first review,
we had it was a rustic wooden entrance with a lot of palettes and palms and colors, right?
Also, the bathrooms.
Yes.
Like, all right, as a photographer, videographer, we work at events and we see females like constant trips to the bathroom, not to use the bathroom,
right,
but just because of how comfortable it is. Just to use the mirror to touch up with powder and all of that. So my question is, where do you get these inspirations from?
Boy, to be honest with you, sometimes they just come to us. Sometimes a lot of it is Kenito. The crane in the ear, that was him.
How could that
tell? The bridge over the river, that was him as well. I mean, it's 50-50 between us both in terms of design, and sometimes he has a certain structural side to it, and then the finesse comes from me. The bathroom, as you mentioned, that was very important for me at review. Shane is a very good friend of both of ours. Like I told you, I don't like to do party decorating or entrances overall, but Shane sort of has no input when it comes to this area of the event. It's like, all right, this is what we're gonna do. And he's like, oh my God, I love it. And then we say, good, we just execute. So it sort of gives us a kid in a candy store sort of feeling to just run with it. And he's always excited to see the outcome. But I'm going to events. I get my makeup well done. My hair looks good. I buy this outfit to go. And once as I'm in the party and I start sweating, I can check to see what I look like. So I thought, why not create a space where the ladies can go, if it's not even a fancy bathroom, at least a mirror. There are lots of times we go to the bathroom and we don't want to use the bathroom. We literally just go to check if there's a mirror, because image is everything. So that's how the bathrooms became a part of the decor.
All right, this is going to be a difficult question. But of all the events that you would have done decor, which is your favorite? All right, I'm going to give you the events to choose from.
Wow.
All right, so Cabana. I'm going to say the Cabana Kingston staging.
Okay.
Review, the one with the bridge over the river.
Okay.
You know, we have to go train AM City. The one with the chandelier.
Right.
Yep, that's AM City.
90s.
Okay.
Yeah.
90s. There you go.
Yeah, 90s playground.
90s playground. 90s playground, 30th of March.
You can't stop there.
4 is good?
Yeah, 4. You're already giving me a difficult suits. Yeah. Oh my God.
No, you probably get too difficult.
Exactly.
No.
I'm like, already it's hard.
All right, I know probably each
Privilege
event
as well. Yeah.
Each event you might have a specific thing about it that stands out to you, but you can probably just pick one or two and tell us why.
All right. Let's see what I can remember based on what you chose just now. I am going to go with 90s playground, the living room, the vintage living room edition.
With the video game.
With the video games.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite. Sometimes when we design, we don't necessarily see it in our head as how it turns out. And I would say 98% of the times it turns out better than what we envision. Walking into that space with that curved living room, the couch is there, the addition of the rocking chair, the old TV, the Nintendo.
Yes.
Like, I took a photo there of someone and it actually looked as if they were in a real living room. So I would say that's my number one. You threw Cabana Kingston at me. You also threw Review with the bridge. Yeah. That wasn't my favorite review. It was the most creatively executed in terms of build out. Okay. But I wouldn't say it's any one of our favorites. So I'm gonna skip review on that one. Which other one did you say?
AM City.
AM City, all right. AM City, that all white chandelier feel, that was good too. There was another one, I think it was Suits. We said Suits. All right. Yeah, 90s and Cabana Kingston. Cabana Kingston, because now we have now walked into a maze of entrances.
Yep.
So while we usually do one backdrop, you had several opportunities and several photo areas to marvel in. And I must say a huge big up to Rudy.
Yeah.
Rudy has designed every single entrance that we have executed. Once as I pitched the vision to him and how I want him to play a part in helping us. Exceptional. ECS does amazing prints as well. So between Rudy, ECS, and ZEDOJ, and Ascend, of course, with the production, they all came off pretty amazing. Yeah, so a lot of the time I get my ideas from Rudy's flyers as well.
Oh.
He designs the flyers, and once as I'm able to see the flyer, I'm now able to take some inspiration from that.
What would you consider the most rewarding aspect of your journey with ZEDOJ events and weddings, both personally and professionally?
Personally, I was able to use ZEDOJ events as my training tool to be able to produce, I would call it a world-class conference like Retired Stilettos. From the experience, the knowledge, the execution, just my whole life prepared me to do, or my whole event life prepared me to execute RTS. So personally, I would say that's the most rewarding.
You know, honestly, I feel like we get an RTS soon. I'll tell you why. You can watch about the video?
Yeah.
You see, every time you mention RTS, the smile when I see on your face, I can tell it's RTS mean a lot to you, and we're going to get an RTS soon. I speak it into being.
Yes. And professionally, most rewarding, is literally getting the call from the US Embassy. I mean, anybody, any corporate entity can call me in Jamaica because I am Jamaican. I am local. And even though I don't advertise in the media like radio or television or newspapers, my work has gotten out there by word of mouth. To actually get a call from an internationally recognized institution, not only internationally recognized, but this is the helm of the United States hub in Jamaica, to say, we're considering you for an event and you have to come here and bid against other event companies. It's not just choosing me, it's going up against bidding. And then to be selected, and then to be selected on multiple occasions for the July 4th Independence, the US Marines Ball, their award ceremony, Sarah Award ceremony, and just many other things that they launched. That if it's a simple ribbon cutting,
Yeah.
that's us. I mean, from a professional point of view, I can't say that anything has made me more elated and excited than just being recognized as we're two little young people who had just started something because we wanted to. And then now, you know, people see the value in what we do. So, yeah.
All right. The next question before we go into 10 jar. Are there any mentors or people you would have reached out to in the beginning of your journey where you could ask questions or get guidance, or even right now?
No. It sounds very weird, but a lot of what we did was impulsive. So it's not a case of we're deciding to do this and what do you think? It was literally a need to move, and we move.
And see what happens.
And see what happens. Just like with the spa, like we're not doing events anymore. Like there's no two-way about doing something else. And I believe this is it, and we move. Of course, you know, we talk to our parents and we value their advice. And we also have discussion with friends, you know, what do you think about this? But the ultimate decision at the end of the day is between us both. I can't say there's any mile marker in terms of a person that I've looked at to say, yeah, I want to be like you. We literally existed out of nowhere, and we built a personality, we built a brand without copying or trying to be like something else. So to try to be unique, and it happens, and people have faith in your uniqueness, yeah.
That's one I think I like about photography. You know how much free trip me get?
Yeah? All right, yeah.
It's all right. 10 jar. So all you need to do is pick 10 pieces of paper from this jar. It contains questions and this and that scenarios. All you need to do is answer at least 8 to 10 questions, because you only get 2 passes. So you're only allowed to pass 2 of the questions. For example, if you should pick a piece of paper that says black or white, you have to select a color. And it's that simple. Let's go. Jody picked 10. I did not pick any for her. So let's see.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
10?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the first one, you can just pick and just read.
All right. Ooh. All right. It says number 48. Create a bedtime story about a rebellious sock who refuses to stay in the drawer.
I think you're the third person picking that one. No.
So I'm creating this story right now.
Yep.
A rebellious sock who refused to stay in the drawer. Okay, so there was this sock called Kenito that refused to stay in the drawer. Whenever we would tuck all the other socks away, we always found Kenito hanging out of the drawer. After doing this on a couple of occasions, we realized that Kenito was simply a rebellious sock. So we decided to place him outside the box. And by placing him outside the box, Kenito had the opportunity to create a space of his own and explore the space that he was in, which made it a more comfortable space, so he did not have to exit from that box, because the little sock Kenito liked to think outside the box.
Good night. You just get a perfect bedtime story, so you can just play it for your kids.
That is, yo, listen, that is hilarious. All right, next one. This is funny. I wasn't expecting that. All right, number 43. Invent a new language using only sounds and gestures and demonstrate a basic conversation. Oh my God. Invent a new language using only sounds and gestures and demonstrate a basic conversation. God. Pass. Yeah, like, I didn't remember I could use that.
Okay. All right, so you have one more pass.
Shoot. All right. Okay, next. This is question 13. If your pet had a job, what profession do you think they would excel in?
All right, first you have to tell me the type of pet.
Have a pet.
Oh.
But if I had a pet, I think that pet would excel in track and field.
Type of pet?
Dog.
Fear?
Yeah, it likes to run. My imaginary pet. Ain't no way I was passing on that one because I don't know what's coming up. All right, this is number 9. If you could swap lives with a cartoon character for a day, who would it be and why? A cartoon character for a day. Who would it be and why? The first cartoon, and probably the only cartoon that's coming to mind right now, is Tom and Jerry. I'm really just not... Yeah, Tom and Jerry. Like, I can't think of another cartoon right now. So I would be Jerry, because I'm a kid at heart in all aspects of life. Like, I try not to take life too seriously because it does get very serious at times. So the whole cat and mouse game that Jerry and Tom puts on, I think I would be the Jerry in that situation. All right, didn't use another pass.
Jody, I get some easy questions.
That's awesome. All right, if your pet had a superpower, pet again, what would it be and how would they use it for good? That superpower, if I had a pet, would be the same dog, right? Being able to morph themselves into another place to get their own food.
Maybe this is an indication
that I need a pet.
You need to get a pet.
My kids have been asking for a dog, but no way. Let's grab the third pet question.
All right, let's see.
Let's see. All right. If your life had a scent, what would it be and why? Perfect question. If my life had a scent, it would be lavender.
Okay.
Lavender is very calming. And in the midst of stress and anxiety and the world running away and everything passing by, just one shower or a candle burning with the scent lavender, it just calms. It just calms the senses, calms the aura. And I think we need a lot more calm days in this fast-paced life.
That we can agree with. You can tell us in the comments below, if your life had a scent, what would it be and why?
Okay. Cooking or baking? Definitely cooking.
Yeah, more than likely.
Yeah, I love to cook. Sometimes.
As a parent, trust me, cooking.
Yeah. All right. I'm glad I passed on that one. I passed on. All right. Compose a haiku about the last dream you remember having. What's a haiku? And it's amazing that that this is actually included. Haiku, H-A-I-K-U. I-K-U. I'm a dreamer. I'm a huge dreamer. And I only discovered recently that not everybody dream every night.
Yeah, people dream every night?
I do. And I don't only dream every night, but my dream leads me to places. A Japanese what?
7 syllables.
A Japanese poem of 17 syllables. All right. So even though I love dreaming, we're going to pass on this one.
Yeah, it's not like too much effort now to go count
Like
syllables.
17 syllables. No. Oh, God. That's
All
two
right.
passes now, and I have 2 left.
Okay, I was just going to remind you. All right, let's see.
Describe your alter ego's Describe your alter ego's fashion sense in a world where everyone wears costumes.
Nice.
Catwoman. Black latex fitted boots, the whip, the mask. Catwoman.
I never expect that, but
What did you expect? You don't know, but
honestly,
not
I
that.
don't know, but not that.
Yeah.
All right, people. So we are the final.
Yeah.
So we're doing the final one now.
Awesome. Oh my God, I passed on the 2 hardest. This is good. Ackee and saltfish or jerk chicken? Definitely ackee and saltfish.
Good.
Definitely ackee and saltfish.
Everybody will get this question. Ackee and saltfish.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of chicken.
Me either.
Oh, cool.
All right, people. So that was 10 jar with Jody. You heard the questions. You heard the answers. If you think any of our answers were not your answers, you can just tell us in the comments below what would be your answers for those questions.
Especially the syllable one. The Japanese, the haiku.
The haiku. All right. I know you learned that today.
Yes.
Yep, you. All right, so George. All right, we just finished playing the game. We're close to wrapping up. I want you to just give some encouraging words to young entrepreneurs right now. They might be going through difficulties with their business. You just wanted to give them some words of motivation and encouragement.
Okay. So I'm not going to sugarcoat it. People like to see the success, and they mainly only post the success. People hardly post their downfalls and their dismays and when they fall and find it hard to get up and they're depressed and don't want to move and you hardly find motivation. But the key thing that I would like to leave with you is something that I've always used on my motivational presentations. Where you are or where you place yourself, there's a different value in every position. Right? a bottle of water in the supermarket will cost way cheaper than a bottle of water on the airplane.
True.
A bottle of water on the airplane may be cheaper than at a huge concert. It is the same bottle of water. It is the same brand. But try to position yourself in places of value where people will recognize and see your worth. Don't just start or operate a business because someone else is doing it and it looks good. If you're going to do the same thing, try to be the best at it. Try to be different, because there are many brands of water in the supermarket, but everyone has their own favorite brand. So stand out, fall, get up, learn from your experiences, try to move on in a better way, and at the same time, find a better position that your brand can be valued and recognized for what it is.
All right, people, so there you have it. That was Jody from ZEDOJ Events and Weddings. And this episode of 10 Startup to Success. So see you again soon. Who will be here next? We don't know. Just stay around and you'll see. See you soon.
Bye.
LiveFast Jamaica.